The war is over. The person who hurt you is gone. The door has been open this whole time, but you are still living like a soldier in a war zone. You have been shrouded in such persistent numbness that the very memory of feeling alive has faded. This is not the familiar ache of sadness or the tension of stress. It is a profound, inert detachment, as if you are observing your own existence unfold through a pane of glass. You operate merely by going through the necessary motions. You produce the appropriate smile when required. You confirm you are fine. But beneath the surface, the truth remains. You are not experiencing life. You are merely maintaining survival. And that state of enduring has been your reality for years. Carl Jung systematically recorded this precise behavioral pattern throughout his clinical practice, recognizing what we now define as survival mode. Crucially, this concept transcends the typical exhaustion or feeling of being overwhelmed. It represents a total system shutdown, a complete cessation of genuine emotional experience. You bury your true feelings, suppressed your intrinsic needs, and effectively rendered yourself invisible. This radical self-abnegation was performed in service of safety. Yet, here is the profound insight that Jung grasped, and which most people miss. You did not actually lose your life. You concealed it. You placed your authentic self into a secure vault and locked it away, shielding it from external forces that you feared would destroy it. The tragedy is that you subsequently lost the map to its location. Now, despite the threat having long since receded, you continue to exist as though you are perpetually under siege. This guide is the necessary roadmap for retrieval. It is the definitive process for how the empath can finally reclaim the vibrant existence that was sacrificed to survival mode. Most people categorize survival mode as a transient state, a rough week or a high-stress month. For the empath, however, it frequently metastasizes into an established lifestyle. The roots often extend back to childhood. Perhaps you matured in an environment where emotions were weaponized, where an expression of genuine happiness invited sabotage, and any sign of sadness was deemed a weakness. Consequently, you mastered the art of neutrality and learned to vanish. Alternatively, this strategy may have originated in a relationship with someone who required you to minimize yourself, someone who could not tolerate your joy, or who systematically penalized you for voicing a need. You responded by systematically eliminating your needs. You engineered yourself to be agreeable, undemanding, and remarkably low maintenance. The underlying dangerous assumption was simple. If you required less, you would surely be loved more. Consider a representative case profile that starkly illustrates this dynamic. We observe this pattern in the history of an individual who quickly absorbed the lesson that their inner world was inconvenient, their joy too exuberant, their sadness too taxing. They constructed a specific survival strategy, becoming a psychological shapeshifter. They perfected the skill of monitoring the slightest shifts in mood, the subtle contraction around a person's eyes, the infinitesimal change in vocal cadence that signaled impending conflict, and instantly calibrated their behavior in response. This strategic adaptation is often recognized as the Fawn response, a survival mechanism utilized when neither fight nor flight is viable. We freeze, and then engage in a more profound form of self-betrayal. We transform into the exact person the other requires us to be. We meticulously assess the environment. We adjust. We shapeshift. We become flawless predictors of what behavior ensures our immediate safety. In performing this transformation, we cease to be ourselves. The empath acquires this skill at an unparalleled speed. You detect subtle micro-expressions before most people even register a conversational shift. You feel the emotional temperature of a room plummet before a single word is spoken. You innately know when someone is dishonest, furious, or on the brink of eruption, and you leverage that knowledge for survival. You became the unrivaled expert at managing other people's emotional states, specifically so they would not be able to manage yours. This competence is simultaneously your greatest strength and your most confining prison. You take immense pride in your ability to handle any situation, in being the rational anchor the calm presence, the one who never yields control. People instinctively turn to you because you possess the right words. You expertly hold the emotional space for everyone else while keeping your own feelings securely locked down. While this posture feels like strength, Jung interpreted it fundamentally differently. He termed it the persona, the sanctioned mask you wear to ensure acceptance, guarantee safety, and secure love. For the empath, the persona is not simply a professional role or a facade worn for acquaintances. It becomes your pervasive identity, the person who is chronically fine, eternally strong, perpetually low maintenance, the one who never voices complaint, never demands too much, and never disturbs the equilibrium. And tragically, beneath this rigid mask, your true self is slowly asphyxiating. Jung assigned a specific diagnosis to this phenomenon: the unlived life. This concept encompasses all the vital energy expended on maintaining a false representation of yourself, all the emotions you suppress, the words you censor, and the needs you enter. That energy doesn't simply dissipate. It is forced inward, manifesting as chronic exhaustion, generalized anxiety, profound depression, and even physical ailments. When people inquire why you are constantly fatigued, advising rest, a vacation, or more rigorous self-care, you recognize the deeper truth. Your exhaustion stems not from doing too much, but from the relentless labor of being someone you are not. You are depleted from the effort required to keep the persona intact, maintaining the facade that everything is manageable when, in reality, it hasn't been manageable for years. The crushing weight of the unlived life is derived not merely from your actions, but profoundly from your omissions. The passions you abandoned because they consumed time better spent catering to others' happiness. The strong opinions you stopped articulating because they threatened conflict. The long-held dreams you allowed to wither after being told they were unrealistic. The emotions you ceased to feel because authentic feeling was too perilous. You systematically sacrificed fragments of your identity, simply to maintain external peace. Now the distance between who you truly are and who you present yourself to be is vast. You no longer recall your own desires, your preferences, or what truly ignited your spirit. You have become a spectral presence, a ghost inhabiting your own story. We can illustrate this with a composite profile reflecting the patterns Jung frequently observed. Consider an individual who once reveled in painting, routinely losing track of time in the creative flow of producing something beautiful. Yet, their partner initiated constant commentary, subtle at first, about the inevitable mess, the time required, or the expense of the supplies. Consequently, the painting sessions diminished, then ceased entirely. They rationalized this withdrawal, telling themselves they were being sensible, practical, or simply growing up. But the undeniable reality was a piece-by-piece regression, a dismantling of dreams, until only the acceptable version remained, the one who caused no friction, who claimed minimal space, who required nothing that might inconvenience another person. This is the slow disintegration that Jung warned against, not the death that terminates the physical body, but the kind that extinguishes your essential life while leaving you physically breathing. Inevitably, the mask begins to fracture. You experience lapses where the containment fails, an explosive rage triggered by a minor inconvenience, inexplicable crying fits in the shower, or a paralyzing apathy where nothing holds meaning. These are not malfunctions. This is your shadow demanding attention. Jung posited that the shadow encompasses everything you forcibly repressed to survive, all the righteous anger you were forbidden to express, all the vital boundaries you were prohibited from establishing, every aspect of yourself deemed too intense, too chaotic, or simply too much. The shadow does not dissolve because you ignore it. It escalates its volume until it stops requesting entry and simply bursts through. These moments are profoundly frightening because they represent a loss of mastery. Your entire identity was founded upon being the stable, reliable, controlled person who could manage anything. Now you are suddenly lashing out, weeping without cause, and feeling surges of irrational fury. But Jung would insist this is not a defect, it is a desperate communication. Your psyche is issuing an urgent warning: this unsustainable life must cease. The maintenance cost of the persona has become prohibitively expensive,
Something must change before the structure of your self collapses entirely. The most terrifying revelation occurs when you grasp the ultimate truth. The conflict is over. The individuals who harmed you have departed. The constraining situation has resolved. You are now, objectively, safe. However, your autonomic nervous system has failed to register the cessation of hostilities. Your body remains braced for impact. Your mind perpetually scans the horizon for imminent danger. You are living as a combatant in a war zone, even though you returned home years ago. This realization changes everything. You have been confined within a cage that ceased to exist long ago. The locking mechanisms were removed years past, and the door has been unlocked this entire time. Yet, you are so deeply conditioned by the feeling of imprisonment that you never considered reaching for the handle. You never dared to simply walk through. Once you see it, the truth is irreversible. It stares you down. You are not trapped. You never truly were. You merely believed you were, and that conviction proved a stronger barrier than any tangible prison. This freedom is terrifying because, if you are truly free, you are forced to make a choice. You can persist in living as you have been, diminished, safe, and emotionally vacant. Or you can attempt the seemingly impossible, journey back and retrieve the life you carefully concealed. Understand this. This process of retrieval is not a gentle endeavor. It will not be accomplished through simplistic affirmations, self-help cliches, or luxurious bubble baths. This is a profound rebellion. This is the precise moment the empath ceases maintaining external peace at the expense of their internal war. This is the declaration that you are finished acting as the primary shock absorber for everyone else's dysfunctions. Finished bending yourself into impossible shapes so that others do not have to break. Finished pretending that your fundamental needs are irrelevant. The reclamation initiates with anger, a visceral, bone-deep, foundational rage. This anger is not directed at the trauma itself, but at the sheer duration of time you allowed the self-betrayal to persist, at the years spent minimizing yourself, at the vast segments of life you surrendered to people who never even acknowledged a gift. This anger is not aesthetic. It is neither spiritual nor polite. It is messy, raw, and utterly indispensable. Because anger is the force that breaks the spell of the Fawn response. It is what compels you to stop affirming yes when you mean no, to cease apologizing for your existence, and to stop justifying yourself to people who will never genuinely grasp your reality anyway. Anger functions as the necessary bridge between the person you were and the person you are becoming. Let me be explicit. This anger is entirely devoid of revenge. It is not designed to inflict pain on those who hurt you. Its purpose is the absolute refusal to harm yourself any longer. It is the definitive statement. Enough. No more. I refuse to betray my own being solely to ensure the comfort of others. This is the crucial turning point where you stop abandoning yourself, where you move off the bottom of your own priority list, where you cease giving away pieces of your soul as if they held no value, because they do matter. You matter, and you are finally beginning to believe it. Yet, anger alone is insufficient. You must proceed to integrate your shadow. This requires claiming all the aspects of yourself that you meticulously suppressed to be acceptable. The part of you that is deliberately difficult, the one that holds uncompromising standards. The voice that says no without apology or explanation. The side that is indifferent to other people's disappointment. The self that refuses to diminish merely to make someone else feel at ease. Jung maintained that shadow integration is not about descending into cruelty. It is about achieving profound wholeness. It means reclaiming your inherent right to be human, to be occasionally inconvenient, to occupy the space you need, to establish non-negotiable boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being without the crippling weight of guilt. This last part feels the most hazardous because you have been socially conditioned to believe that boundaries equate to selfishness, that saying no is an act of unkindness, and that self-prioritization is morally wrong. But Jung identified this as a critical lie, a mechanism designed to keep you constrained and compliant. The actual truth is that boundaries are not restrictive walls. They are carefully chosen doors. They admit the supportive few and safeguard you against those who would deplete you. They conserve your vital energy so that you can allocate it to the people and projects that genuinely matter.
Boundaries are fundamentally not about rejecting others. They are about honoring yourself.
This is the moment the empath transforms into something dangerous, not to the innocent, but to the people whose entire structure depended upon your silence. When you begin to implement boundaries, they will label you selfish. When you start saying no, they will accuse you of being difficult. When you stop managing their emotions, they will judge you as cold. Permit them this judgment. You are no longer here to serve as their designated emotional support structure. You are not here to fix, save, or validate them. You are here to live the life you put on indefinite hold, the one you kept hidden for safekeeping, the one you are now decisively ready to retrieve. Those who genuinely cherish you will adapt. They will honor your boundaries. They will appreciate the authenticity of your presence over the comfortable lie. Conversely, those who do not will be exposed. And that revelation, though potentially painful, is an undeniable gift, as it clearly delineates who loved the real you and who merely valued what you could perform for them. The resulting transformation is not what most anticipate. You cannot revert to the person you were before. That self is obsolete. The trauma fundamentally altered you. The necessity of survival reshaped you. But this does not signify that you are permanently damaged. It means you are different, and that distinction is immensely powerful. You evolve into what some term a dangerous empath, not because you inflict harm on others, but because you are no longer susceptible to being harmed by them. Not because you cease to care, but because your caring becomes intentional and highly selective. You retain your deep empathy. You still feel profoundly, but you now possess a quality you lacked before: discernment. You recognize precisely who merits your finite energy and who does not. You know when to intervene and when to responsibly withdraw. You understand the critical divide between genuinely supporting a person and allowing them to consume you completely. You cease being a perpetual resource for others' consumption. You stop being universally available. You refuse to carry the burden of other people's emotional lives as if they were your personal responsibility. And when individuals attempt to manipulate you back into your former role with guilt, you are impervious, because you vividly recall the devastating price you paid to be that person. You will never return. Your life begins to restructure itself drastically. You acquire time for pursuits that genuinely fulfill you, hobbies that make you feel truly alive, relationships that are authentically reciprocal, and mornings where you wake up without the immediate weight of dread. You start grounding your decisions in your own desires, rather than perpetually calculating what will maintain everyone else's comfort. Initially, this feels deeply unfamiliar, almost wrong, given how long you prioritized yourself last. Yet, with every conscious choice, it becomes increasingly innate. You begin to recall the version of yourself that existed before the necessity of disappearance, the scope of your dreams, the things that made you laugh effortlessly, the person who was entirely unafraid to be seen. And you realize that person never vanished. They were patiently waiting for you to achieve readiness, waiting for you to find the courage, waiting for you to return and embrace them. This is where the true healing commences. Not the kind that erases the memory of what occurred, but the kind that strips away its power to define you. You start viewing your old survival mechanisms for what they truly are. Not flaws or weaknesses, but essential adaptations. They ensured your survival. They saw you through the impossible. Now, you hold the power to choose which to retain and which to discard. You preserve the deep empathy, the acute ability to read others, the advanced emotional intelligence. But you release the compulsion to repair everyone, the need for flawlessness, and the toxic belief that your self-worth is derived solely from what you can contribute to others. You accept the gifts and cast off the heavy burdens. This is the life you successfully salvage from survival mode, the one where you are. The need to be constantly braced for disaster vanishes. This is the space where you don't have to meticulously read the room before stepping into it. Here, relaxation is guilt-free, and you can finally show up as yourself without fear of causing offense or disappointment. In this life, you cease to be a shadow, a ghost merely observing. You become substantial. You are authentic, fully present, and truly alive.
Carl Jung articulated that the profound journey from mere survival to genuine living is never a regression to the past self. Instead, it is the deliberate act of becoming the person you were fundamentally destined to be. This is the ultimate version of you, the one who endured everything and emerged resilient. You are stronger, not hardened or emotionally distant, but stronger, defined by protective boundaries, upheld by standards that honor your true value, living a life that finally belongs, unequivocally, to you.
And perhaps the most transformative secret about this shift is this: it is not solely an individual pursuit. As you reclaim your identity in your life, you inherently grant others the silent permission to do the same. Your established boundaries become a visible blueprint, demonstrating to others that they possess the same right. By halting the cycle of self-betrayal, you actively cultivate an environment where true authenticity can thrive. You stand as undeniable, living proof that escaping survival mode is achievable, that vibrant existence truly waits on the other side. Therefore, if these words resonate deeply with you, know this truth: the life you deliberately suppressed is patiently waiting. It requires only your readiness. When that moment arrives, when you finally declare an end to surviving and commit to beginning living, that authentic life will be waiting, exactly as you left it, untouched, unspoiled, and definitively yours. All that remains is for you to return and embrace it. The path ahead will demand effort. It will not be effortless. There will inevitably be times when the urge to retreat, to shrink back into the familiar state of being small, overwhelms you. Moments when the raw discomfort of growth feels sharper than the protective numbness of survival. And setting those crucial boundaries seems harder than simply yielding. But those difficult moments are temporary. Beyond them waits a reality you may have entirely forgotten was attainable. A life where you awaken with genuine excitement, not exhaustion. Where anticipation replaces dread. Where you retain vital energy for yourself, rather than constantly dispensing it all to others. A life where you finally, deeply feel settled, at home within your own skin. This is the existence awaiting you, not at some indeterminate point in the future, not only when every circumstance aligns perfectly. It is available right now, the very instant you declare your readiness, the moment you affirm your intrinsic worth, the moment you decree that the life you suppressed deserves to be fully lived. If you are prepared to reclaim your narrative, if you are finished with numbness and ready to embrace feeling again, subscribe, because this is merely the preface. There is boundless depth yet to discover. So much more to seize back, and you absolutely do not have to navigate this transformation alone.